All right, welcome back once again to another edition of Big Screen Small Talk. I'm Anthony Mottola.
I'm Ryan Waltz.
And today's episode is going to be our personal top 5 movie villains of all time.
Mm-hmm.
We should give credit to Ryan Lotz, since he was the one who suggested it on our Facebook page. So, Ryan, here's your show.
Yeah.
Why don't you get us kicked off?
Okay, number 5 for me is actually Severin from the film Near Dark.
I have never seen Near Dark.
Near Dark is a story about a country bumpkin who runs into a group of vampires.
I love the word bumpkin.
Yeah, I'm bringing it back.
Sounds like Blumpkin.
And he runs into these vampires. Well, first he runs into a girl who he just like falls in love with immediately, and they spend the night hanging out, and things get passionate, and he gets bit, and he can't control himself.
She's the vampire.
She is the vampire.
Okay.
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen Near Dark. But this is all the first 5 minutes.
Okay.
She bites him, she feels bad and leaves him, and he doesn't know what's happening. So he's walking back home, and he's real sick because he's turning, and he gets taken in by her group, her family, as you'd call it. And apparently it's raining.
There's a tornado outside.
I wonder if you can hear that. Oh well, can't change it now.
It's mood. It's
mood?
setting the mood.
All right. But
wow.
Yeah, I live in a tin house.
Crazy rain.
Any kind of rain sounds like that in this house. But anyways,
hot and heavy. She bites him.
She bites him, and his family picks him up.
Okay.
In a Winnebago, and this family is Bill Paxton, who plays Severin.
Okay. Oh, so Bill Paxton is the villain.
Bill Paxton is the villain. Plays Severin. We have.
I like Bill Paxton.
Can't remember his name. Lance Hendrickson plays Jesse.
Horror icon.
His girlfriend is Diamondback, who's played by Jeanette Goldstein. And there's a young boy. I don't know what his name is, but he plays Homer.
Okay. And
the ongoing joke about Homer is he's an old man stuck in a young boy's body.
Okay.
Because he's like...
Is he retarded? Or is he...
No. He's a vampire. He's been alive for hundreds of years.
Okay.
But when he turned, he was a kid.
Oh. So he hasn't...
Yeah, so when he hasn't grown up.
Okay.
And a lot of the jokes are not jokes, but he's like, "How do you think it'd feel to be stuck in my body?" And like,
that's gonna suck.
Yeah. And he's on the hunt for like a young 8-year-old girl that he can train. But yeah, that's the movie. And Severin is one of my favorite villains for just the fact he has such a great personality.
Well, I was going to ask you, what was your criteria for picking the villains? Was there a certain thing that you went with?
Different things. Personality was a big one. Conviction. The power that they have, because a villain has the power to change people. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The power of persuasion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay. And then just what scared me most. And you'll see it turn as my list goes on, which ones are which. Scaring me is the highest regard.
I don't know your number one.
Okay, I know.
We've been discussing this.
I've been keeping it hidden.
Do you know my number one? Yeah, I think everybody who knows me knows what my number one is.
Yeah, okay.
Everybody yells at me, but I'm sticking with it.
But anyways, this Near Dark, it's a really cool film. It has a great atmosphere to it.
Is it on Netflix?
No, I don't believe it is on Netflix.
Son of a bitch.
It's great. What the director... Catherine Bigelow.
Oh, okay. Zero Dark 30.
She did Zero Dark 30,
James Cameron's
Point Break,
ex-wife.
Hurt Locker.
I love Point Break.
She is James Cameron's ex-wife, and James Cameron did Aliens.
Yeah.
Which had
Lance Hendrickson and
Bill
Paxton.
Was the one who went to her and was like, "I have this whole crew already set up. You should just take them all and put them in
Wow, I was
movie.
just going to say, because we were just, before we started recording, we were discussing
Talking about Aliens.
Alien. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. But what she really wanted to do was make a Western.
Okay.
But there was nobody interested in making a Western. So they put this vampire twist on it. And that's
I like good vampire movies.
Oh, it's at the top of my vampire movie list.
Really?
Oh yeah. It might be.
I have to check this out. I have to look for it. You have
probably,
it?
Yeah, I have it.
Oh.
I'd probably say, Jesus
Whoa.
Christ. There's thunder, there's lightning.
See, you didn't... I think that's a part of a song from Labyrinth we were talking about earlier today.
Oh, yeah?
David Bowie.
I've never seen Labyrinth. Near Dark is probably my second favorite vampire movie behind Let the Right One In, the original version.
See, I haven't seen that one. I do like Let Me In a lot.
If you like Let Me In, watch Let the Right One In.
It's foreign, correct?
Yeah. Well, don't give me that face.
No, I didn't give you a face.
I hate people who are
right.
foreign.
I like foreign films. I watch anything, man. I like foreign films. We just watched Passion of the Christ, which is like all over the place.
Foreign?
Well, I don't know. It's not in English. If I have to read it, it's foreign.
Yeah.
And it's like in dead languages and shit.
Well, they want to do a Western. They couldn't. So there's a great Western feel to it. And Severin's character is like a punk rock cowboy. He's got like a leather jacket and shades, but he wears like boots with spurs on them. And he uses these spurs to like cut people's throats.
See, I bet you Bill Paxton looks badass in that movie, right?
Incredible. He is, and he has that great personality, like kind of like Freddy Krueger does, where not only does he kill people, but he kind of taunts them.
But you like him too.
Yeah, and what makes him part of my top 5 is there's a scene in Near Dark where they have Caleb is the main character's name, who is played by the guy from Heroes, the brother.
I never watched Heroes.
Adrian Pastar.
Sounds familiar.
He's Nathan from Heroes.
Okay.
You'd know him. He's going to be an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. If you saw him, you'd know him.
Still over that show.
But there's a scene where they have him, and he doesn't want to kill people, but he's getting sick. And he doesn't want to kill people. May is his girlfriend, who's letting him feed off of her, and she's not strong enough. So they're like, all right, well, we're going to take you and show you how this is done. And they walk into a dive bar. And, like, Jesse orders a shot in an empty glass. The woman comes over, puts down the shot, and he cuts her throat and just drains her neck right into the glass.
That's a cool visual.
Yeah, and then they go to the jukebox and they put on Fever by the Cramps. No one knows how much I love you.
Fever!
And they're just taunting the fucking owner. And, like, Bill Paxton's character is, like, on one side of the bar, and he's on the other, and there's a shotgun, and he gets shot, like, right in the chest, and he's just still fucking with them.
I have to check this out.
Oh, it's so good.
I have to see this movie.
Yeah. And, yeah, he's just great.
I like the name, too. Severin's a cool...
Severin, yeah.
A badass name.
And there's an epic climax at the end where Jesse gets one of Severin's spurs out of respect because he gets him out of a tight situation. And this tight situation you see, it totally inspired the Freak on the Leash video.
Really?
And it had to have. When you see it,
video. Todd McFarlane directed that video.
And
a piece of tidbit.
And the very beginning of Devil's Rejects has the same feel to it.
I love the Devil's Rejects.
Like the whole like house like getting shot up, and he gives him the spur out of respect, and then they find a way to reverse the vampire effects.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a cool take on it. When I first
like when
watched
people put their own spin on these.
It's a cool thing.
These things,
and then and then there's like this big fight between Severin and Caleb, because he wants his spur back because he betrayed him. And
the spur.
But yeah, his personality is what makes him my number 5.
Okay.
And his look. He looks like a badass. Hold on one second. I'm going to actually get up and show you a picture of Bill Paxton as Severin.
Well, I guess while you're doing that, I had a tough time figuring out number 5. Is that him on the left?
Right there.
Holy shit. Wow. Does he look like that the whole movie?
No, that's the end.
Wow. When is this movie? Because he looks really young there.
Right after Aliens.
Oh, so it's like in the 80s.
87.
Wow, that's cool. Huh. I like Bill Paxton. I like him a lot. Did you ever see the movie Frailty?
Let's just say I fought for the South.
My number 5 was a bit of a toss-up. I couldn't.
Now I'm looking at the Near Dark DVD. Pray for Daylight. Oh, it's so good.
I couldn't decide. I will give. Anton Chigurh did not make it. Who was Javier Bardem from No Country for Old Men. I liked him. I liked the way he looked. He didn't make it because I feel like I have to put this person on the list. It's a very important movie to me. It's a personal movie of mine, and I think she is one of the all-time classic film villains, and that is the Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz, played by Margaret Hamilton.
Yeah, I mean, you really went, what's the word I'm looking for? Commercial.
Well,
I tried to
but
go...
she's so good, though. I mean, she's
I agree.
a stereotypical... I mean, conviction. That's... To me, that was it. And she wanted the power, no matter what. Didn't matter if it was a fucking 16-year-old girl that she had to go through to get the power. She was going to do what she needed to do to get those slippers. And, well, Dorothy's like 16 in that movie.
So we started... Hold on. When we did our first video, our first podcast here, you mentioned you were in the middle of reading the book. Did you finish it?
I have not finished it because I got Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas for my birthday.
Okay.
And I just...
I'm switched over?
Yeah, well, I have it on my tablet. And at night, I usually... that's when I read, but lately, since I got the tablet, I've been watching movies on Netflix, popping the headphones in and falling asleep with flicks, or staying up and watching 3 movies in a row. But
nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that at all. I that's when I find all of this weird shit or stuff that I haven't seen in forever. Netflix is great. I mean, it's a burial ground for shitty movies, but I mean, I love that you can pretty much watch anything. But back to she's perfect. She's got a good look, you know. The green makeup. I mean, it's
she's
just,
I mean, if you
it's
think,
iconic.
Yeah, iconic. If you're looking for a definition of film villain, you know what I mean. That's in the dictionary. That's what you see.
Yeah.
A picture of her.
I mean, she's just evil. She's got good henchmen, which I think is which is a good quality for a villain. Well, between them and the winged monkeys.
Well, are they technically hers?
The monkeys are hers, yeah.
Surrender Dorothy.
Yeah, Surrender Dorothy. That was on the other night. The Wizard. It was on Easter. We got back from...
Of course it was.
From Philadelphia, and I was flipping through, and I was like, oh, man, that's one of those movies. It's a really important movie in my family. I think I said about when I put it in my all-time top 10 with the first show that we did. That movie's really important to my family. My mother especially. That movie's been drilled into my brain. And she creeped me out when I was a kid. You know, she doesn't so much now, but I mean, everything about her, the way she looks, the voice that she did was incredible.
We've got to watch.
I hated Elmira Gulch in the beginning of the movie when it's black and white. She's the one who tries to take Toto away, and she's a total fucking bitch. And I mean, it's just I really like the way that it transitioned, and she's just to me, she's a very, very good villain. It's iconic, and I agree it's a bit commercial, and I think some of my list is a little commercial. That's what I thought about my top 10 too. I was like, you know, it's very, very critic-like, you know. But I don't know. It's just I really enjoy those movies. I stick with my guns. Yeah, I stick with my guns, and yeah, The Wicked Witch of the West, Margaret Hamilton, is my number 5.
Okay, we got to watch that sometime. Just the opening, because there's a part when Dorothy first gets to, I was gonna say Neverland.
Oz.
When she first gets to Oz and she's walking through the yellow brick road to get to like that center area where there's the red brick road and the yellow brick road are swirling. There's a part where 3 munchkins pop out of eggs.
Yes.
And the one looks just like my mom.
No shit.
I swear to fucking God. As a little kid, I was told it was my mother, and I fucking believed it for years.
When did you find out? When did you realize that it was
just
like
heartbroken.
A week ago?
Yeah. Actually, I was telling her about our
Mom,
top 10
look
list.
Great. That movie was 1939. You look amazing.
Right? Well, they kind of look like kids. I assumed she was a child.
Yeah, well, some of them, they did use children and adult little people in that movie.
Oh, no. Looks just like my mom.
We got to get Troy in here to talk about the Wizard of Oz.
He's going to be so upset you mentioned him by name.
Oh. Troy.
Troy.
Who do you got there for number 4?
Okay. My number 4, Oh God, now it's tough making these top lists.
This was hard. This one was a tough one. I had to go through.
I just want to put that out there before we go on because, I mean, this is really tough.
But it's fun though. I really enjoy looking at the stuff. When I was looking through some of the lists that were online and stuff about the villains, and I was like, oh, there's this one. Oh, there's this one. It was tough narrowing it. It's hard for the shit to come to my head right away. You know.
Yeah. Number 4. I'm just going to do it in the order that I wrote it down and not second guess myself here.
Okay.
Number 4 is the Emperor, played by Ian McDiarmid.
Wow. Number 4.
Number 4. He was originally my number 1.
Like a month ago when we were discussing this, yeah, he was your number 1.
He was my number 1.
Number 1, like, steadfast, too.
Yeah, I was like, number 1 villain, the Emperor.
Fuck Darth Vader. It's the Emperor. Does the same guy play him in both?
In all 6.
He does. Okay.
In all 6 movies. He came back and did it.
I thought he was creepier in the new trilogy than he was in the original trilogy. I enjoyed watching the evolution of the Emperor.
Yeah, to be honest, that's one of the main reasons to watch the original trilogy. Or to watch the prequel trilogy.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the best parts.
You watch the evolution of the Emperor and Darth Vader. Outside of that, I have to agree with Spence from King of Queens. What's his name?
Patton Oswalt.
Patton Oswalt. He's like, hey, you liked Boba Fett, didn't you? Here he is as a kid. Like, that's all the prequel was.
He looked so cute.
Hey, you like Darth Vader? Here he is as a kid. Like,
whiny bitch. Hayden Christensen. Terrible.
I didn't have a problem with Hayden as much as I had a problem with
crying and whiny and
the kid from
Natalie
Jingle All the Way.
Oh my God, that's right. That is that kid. I just realized that.
You didn't just realize. I just told you.
Did just you just told me, and I. Holy shit.
Yeah, dude.
That kid's done 2 movies that I can think of. Wow, that's the same fucking kid. Holy shit.
Yeah, dude. He went from acting with Arnold Schwarzenegger
Turbo Man.
Turbo Man. I love Jingle All the Way.
It's a good movie.
We'll
Very
do
good
Christmas movies.
movie. Oh yeah.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
That's gonna be fun.
Just got really excited. But anyways, let's get back to the Emperor. And he's in my top 5 for. In my notes here, I have pure manipulation. That is all I have written down.
Well, that's really all he does.
He takes Darth Vader and just completely makes him into a puppet.
He mind fucks him.
He has literally no control over his own will, whether it be for the power of the Force or not. He has control of Darth Vader.
You don't need to be married. Forget about love.
Forget about your wife's dead.
Yeah.
He tells him that. No. I had to do it. So that brings me to my one argument that I have to bring up, and that's that Darth Vader is not a villain. He is not on my list because he is not a villain. He is misguided, and
could you make an argument that
I can make an argument?
A lot of villains are misguided. Something didn't happen at some point in their life that made them.
If the Emperor had never come into Darth Vader's life, he would have never been that way. And when he comes back at the end of the film or at the end of the trilogy, at the end of the series, and saves Luke, he basically proves that point. That he was never a bad person, that he was just being manipulated.
Yeah. He went bad.
He went bad. He had no reason not to. After what happens on... the hell's the name of that? Mustafar.
What? Oh, okay.
That's the name of the planet, I believe. It's been a while. I'm not up to date on my planets.
I thought you farted. I didn't. Or you were clearing your throat or something.
I'm pretty sure that's the name of the planet, and where Obi-Wan and him have a fight, and he loses his body, and after that he thinks Obi-Wan hates me. He doesn't want anything to do with Obi-Wan. His wife is dead, and his kids. He thinks his kids are dead as well. The Emperor is the only person he has. Of course, that's who he's going to follow and who he's going to listen to.
Yeah.
So, he is an anti-hero. I'll give him that.
Darth Vader's an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, if you think about it...
It's a good argument. It's a very good argument. It's valid. A lot of valid points.
In the films, the most heinous crimes are done by someone else. When they blow up... Alderaan, it's not Darth Vader.
Yeah.
It's Grand Moff Tarkin, I believe. Grand Moff Tarkin.
Always makes me think of Can't Hardly Wait.
I'm gonna get one of these names wrong once, and I'm just gonna fucking hear it.
From who?
From our 32 viewers.
It's like 115 at this point for
between all three videos.
Yeah. So wow. It's incredible that he dropped in about the month or so we've been researching this topic, that your number one dropped almost off your list.
Almost. My list turned from top villains to villains who scared me most. That's a little bit of my problem with my list, but it's what we're doing now.
I feel like there's a lot of different like offshoots of
you look
this
for different things
too.
in different villains. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's where I said this list was tough.
This was hard. This was definitely a tough one. Oh, son of a. All right, here we go. My number 4.
Okay.
Is I'm gonna pronounce this wrong.
That's a fact.
Amon Geth, who is played by Ralph Fiennes in Schindler's List. And it's funny, this morning, I don't know why, I was walking the dog, and I was like, I'm coming over, we're going to do the podcast today, and I was trying to think of things to describe these certain characters, and there's this one specific scene in the movie that, to me, totally sums up what a piece of shit human being this character is in this movie. Ralph Fiennes is despicable. He's a Nazi commandant at a concentration camp. He kills this one guy. There's a scene in the movie where there's a one-armed Jew, and he's like, I am an essential worker, a one-armed Jew, and he shoots the guy right in the back of the head. It's a really hard movie to watch, you know, because it's just hard to believe that shit like that actually happened. But this one scene in particular, he wakes up in the morning. There's a woman laying next to him, disrobed from a night of passion or forced passion. He gets up and he's got pants on, no shirt on. He's got the suspenders hanging off the back of the pants, and he picks up this rifle and he walks out onto his beautiful patio or porch, puts the gun, like behind his head. He's stretching out like a baseball player would with his bat, and he just takes the gun up, looks through the sights, and for about 2 minutes straight just starts picking off all of these Jewish people just walking through the concentration camp for no reason whatsoever. No reason whatsoever. Pop, 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 and you just see them drop. And I like the way Spielberg filmed it, because you're watching from the porch. You know what I mean? You're not watching
like
from the ground.
Like behind him or like point of view?
Yeah, it's not point of view. It's from behind him. And then he goes.
This has been a really tough shot to take.
It's a big shot.
How far away do you think the people are?
They're a good distance away, 100 feet maybe.
Okay, so he would have had to have
maybe more.
Him on the porch and like shoot, and then somebody be like fall. Like,
yeah,
that's a tough shot.
It's incredible. You got to watch that movie. It's a really really good movie. But after he's done with this, the girl calls for him, and he walks back into the room, and they exchange words, and then he just starts letting the shells come out of the hot, burning shells out of the gun, and he's ding ding right onto her naked flesh, and he's laughing. He's a scumbag in this movie, and he's so good. Ralph Fiennes is a really good actor.
Ralph Fiennes played in?
He's Voldemort, another classic villain.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw.
No, I don't know exactly who he is now.
In Bruges, did you ever see the movie In Bruges? That's a really.
I've seen the fight.
Underrated movie, I feel.
What was I watching recently where they talk about that? And I think it was one of the Watch Mojo videos, and they show a scene when he's upstairs or he's downstairs and another character's upstairs.
Brendan Gleeson, and they're yelling at each other, right?
Yeah.
That's a really good movie. That's a really good movie, and he was good in that too. He kind of plays. I guess he plays the villain in that one too. He's like the head.
He's got the face for it.
Yeah. So yeah, Amon Geth is my is number 4 for me in my list. So who do you got next?
Okay, my number 3 is played by Haley. It's Haley Stark, played by Ellen Page from the film Hard Candy.
Underrated movie.
I love Hard Candy.
I feel like not enough people have seen it either.
I know I've talked about this in past podcasts, even though we've only had 1 or 2, and you find a movie sometimes and you watch it and you love it so much you just want to give it to people and like, please, can you watch it so we can talk about it? Like my story with Hard Candy, before I get started talking about the character itself, is I was at a Walmart with a friend. This was right when Juno had come out. Ellen Page was a very big actress, at least in our world. And we found Hard Candy in the $5 bin. And I'm like,
steal.
Yeah. And I'm like, fucking buy it. I'm like, fucking buy it. And he's like, I'm not going to buy it. I'm like, come on, just fucking buy it. It's $5. He's like, why don't you buy it? I'm like, because you're going to buy it.
I'm not going to fucking buy it. You buy it.
There's only one copy. So eventually I talk him into it. He buys it. We go back to his house. There's nothing to do at his house. So we watch the films that we just bought. We put in Hard Candy. And we were talking before that, kind of like you and I are now, about films and things like that. And about 20 minutes into the film, that shit stops. And we're just like sitting there, blank stares on our face, watching this very intense chess match, I'd say.
It's a cerebral movie. It's very, very smart.
Very intense chess match happening between Haley Stark and Jeff Kohler, played by Patrick Wilson.
Who's another, to me, he's an underrated actor. I like him a lot.
Incredible
Everything
actor.
he's done.
And we're just sitting there drenched in this movie. It's the best word.
Well, it takes you over, because I agree. It's like one of those movies. I stumbled on it too. I think it was on TV one day. I was like, and I got into it, and I was like, I don't know. I was like, I couldn't make heads or tails of it. And then it just, when she gets to the house, and it's like, holy shit, and once you start realizing that she's the villain, you know what I mean? You're like, whoa, what?
You think this poor girl, she's gonna
get taken advantage of.
Yeah. And so that whole thing happens. We're watching it, and my buddy just goes, look, there's like 20 minutes left in the movie. He's like, I really want to finish this, but I need a cigarette.
This was after the ball scene? The balls?
The balls? I don't remember the ball scene.
When she's like fixing him.
Oh my god, I completely forgot about that scene.
And then when you find out
I wanted to rewatch all these films before we did this. But
that's a good one. I can go from watching Hard Candy again.
Yeah, and so I remember that now. But God, she did that just for the ending. Just to
fuck with him.
She knew what she was going to do at the end.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. God. Yes, but I believe it was after that. I think that scene was what did it. He was like,
I need to go smoke.
He's like, I need a cigarette.
Tell my balls how much I love them.
So we go outside. He's smoking, pacing back and forth. I'm sitting there. My legs are shaking.
Are you done?
And we're like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. What do you think's going to happen? Go back in, finish the movie, go, man, that was so good.
That's hard. And even the end, isn't he? He's like trying to get back with his wife or a girlfriend or something. Isn't she pregnant or they have a kid? And she's on her way to the house.
Yeah.
As he's on the roof,
she's coming. He's on the roof.
Oh, it was brilliant.
She said, I believe she gives him an ultimatum. Basically, either he jumps or she tells his wife what he really is, and he.
It's such a smart movie too, and like I said, the way it turns, like you don't see it. It was the last thing in my mind was that she was going to end up, taking control. A chess match is the perfect way to describe it, because it's exactly what it is.
One of the fun facts when I was doing my research on this movie is that Ellen Page really helped this film, because in the script originally it was going to be revealed that she wasn't a minor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Ellen Page is like,
played as well.
Ellen Page is like, that undermines the entire script. Yeah. If she's not a minor, then this whole thing's pointless.
Yeah.
So the
whole thing is this 15, 16-year-old girl is smarter than this guy.
She outsmarts this other person.
Yeah, who's been preying off of young girls.
Young girl, yeah. Now I love the cover. It's a little girl in a bear trap.
With that hoodie on, that red hoodie.
It's actually, that was one of the things. It looks red, but in the film, Ellen Page came out and said it's actually orange.
Really?
Yeah. Like I said, I did a lot of IMDbing for this. It was made for under $1 million and filmed in 18 days. The entire film takes place in that apartment.
Well, and the coffee shop.
The coffee shop is in the apartment.
No shit.
Yes.
Huh.
They faked out a room in the apartment to do that. It was filmed in chronological order. Which is really neat. Most films don't do that.
Yeah, they jump around.
It has 9 minutes of music. The rest is ambient noise and breathing.
Huh. interesting little fun facts.
Fun facts.
That's a really good movie. That's
Directed
a really
by David Slade, who did Eclipse, the Twilight Saga.
Ugh. I've never had a movie
30
turn
Days
me
a
off
Night.
from a book. I didn't like that movie either.
He did that too. You're nuts. That's
I didn't like that movie.
Top 5 vampire movies. That's
Oh, you're crazy.
That's like number 5.
You're crazy. Josh Hartnett's a jerk. I didn't like that movie.
Okay, well, anyways, back to Ellen Page.
The better movie.
Yeah. If you haven't seen Hard Candy, it's definitely...
Yeah, go find it, and it's totally... It gets the big screen small talk stamp of approval. A unanimous thumbs up.
Yeah, and Ellen Page...
That's a good one.
I love the scene in this where she's trying to figure out his password to his safe.
Yeah.
And, like, it's on the picture.
Yeah.
And like, that whole cat and mouse thing between the two of them.
Because they're both intelligent people.
Yeah, it's like, who's going to be...
Who's going to win?
It's so fucking good. I got to rewatch it. Fuck, do I got to rewatch that.
All right.
Yeah, so
that's a good one. That's a really good one.
I know, right?
That's a really, really good one.
I fucking did it, man.
My number 3 is, I think it kind of maybe correlates a little bit with yours. I think this person is totally super, super smart, smarter than your average bear. And it's John Doe, played by Kevin Spacey in Seven.
Incredible movie.
Incredible movie and an incredible character.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? John Doe's got the upper hand now. That's one of my favorite. That's, to me, conviction.
Yeah.
That whole character is based on conviction, and he picked this fucking guy.
He's got 1,000,002 napkins. I don't...
Yeah. He's so good. Mm-hmm. And that's a really smart movie too. David Fincher, it's one of my favorite David Fincher movies. The whole cutting his fucking the skin off his hands off, so there's no fingerprints. I mean, it's just, and the scene when you first finally see him as they're walking up the steps and he comes in, detectives, you're looking for me, and that scene in the car where he's just spewing all this shit, and Brad Pitt being the meathead, I'm stronger than you, I'm smarter than you, you're a fucking nut bar, I think he calls him in the movie. And then to have it all turned on its fucking head, like I win. And like the end game was him being murdered, and he won, he got everything that he wanted. He was fantastic. I think that was the first thing that I might have seen Kevin Spacey in. And from then on, well, it's the first thing I remember seeing him in anyway. He was incredible with the
American Beauty,
the hair. That was Seven was before American Beauty.
Okay.
The only thing that I could think of that I would have seen him in before was Usual Suspects. I'm not sure where that falls in
the timeline.
And Kaiser Soze is
another great.
Kristen had said that. She goes, Kaiser Soze. We just recently watched Usual Suspects. It was the first time she had seen it, and it stuck with her. She's not usually like, oh, but that movie, like that. She's like, it was great. And,
yeah.
And I was like, well, is he really a villain? I'm like, you don't really know he's the villain until the last the whole minute and a half of the movie. Yeah, which was incredible. Watching when they show that clipboard. But John Doe was just another cerebral character, incredibly smart to go through all of those books, the Dante and the way he did all those killings and the meticulousness of starving that guy to the really skinny guy. He got all the air fresheners. I mean, it's
scene,
vivid.
That's
and
really...
the guy, and he wakes up and he's coughing, and kept on feeding the fat guy until he fucking died and pulling off that was the other. Morgan Freeman was really good in that movie too. Just to find the little bits of the laminate floor that were pulled out, that was the clue that he left for the detectives. He fed this guy 3 little strips of fucking laminate floor. It was just, it's a really good movie, and he's a really, really good, creepy fucking villain. Because those people, there's something that's not right. Something is missing in their brain. There's bad people, and then there's just fucking batshit bad people. Mm-hmm. And John Doe is just one of those guys. He's just nuts for the sake of being nuts.
It's been a while since I've seen Seven. The only problem I remember having with the film is that they didn't build up enough. Was Gwyneth Paltrow? Is in that?
Yeah, she
Gwyneth
plays
Paltrow
the wife.
and Brad Pitt
Took her pretty little head, and the baby
I
that
feel
was
like
inside her. Oh, he didn't know. Oh. What's in the box?
I feel like they didn't build their relationship enough for the box to be like you cared.
No, I think they built it enough. I think he was really into his work, and there was that one scene, the one really long scene that she's in when Morgan Freeman comes over to eat, and she's that whole time she's really trying to be like in his life because she knows no matter what. I think his first love is being a cop more than her, and he didn't know that she was pregnant. That there was something to be said about that too. She was worried how he was going to react, but now John Doe is a really, really good villain and is a really good part by Kevin Spacey, who I can't off the top of my head I can't think of any role that he's played that I didn't. Well, Lex Luthor, maybe.
I forgot he was Lex Luthor.
And I was so angry. I heard that. I was like, this is a can't miss. How could movie can't be screwed up? Yeah, they shit all over that.
He's great in what did I say earlier?
American Beauty.
American Beauty is fucking perfect.
Great dialogue, great story,
nails it.
And everybody in that movie, every fucking character. Annette Bening is amazing. Chris Cooper is good. Wes Bentley is really good. Thora Birch, is really, really good in that movie.
He's even great in Horrible Bosses. He's one of the bosses.
Yeah, he was good. I liked him better in Swimming with Sharks. Where he plays that kind of
the same character.
Yeah, but they turned up to like 11. So what are we down now to our
top two?
Top two.
Okay. My number 2. I think we're gonna
fight about these.
My number 2 is The Strangers. And that is for sheer scare value. I was fucking terrified of these people. I was in a band in the summer that this came out, and it was so hot that we couldn't practice because we had like a barn that we played in. And we were like, where can we go that has air conditioning? And we're like, well, let's go to the movies. So we went to see Strangers. And they are just so fucking creepy. We got 3 of them. There's Dollface, Pinup Girl, and Man in Mask is literally their titles. And then Liv Tyler and Scott Speedsman, who's only ever been in like Underworld.
I think he was on a TV show. I think he was on Felicity or something.
Okay. But they are... The story of The Strangers, if you haven't seen it, is a couple. There is a couple who are in a troubled relationship. The boyfriend planned on proposing. She turned down his proposal, and they were kind of supposed to go to this cabin to celebrate their engagement, but it didn't turn out that way. So they just go up to the cabin, and they're not happy. When they're at the cabin, a woman knocks on the door and asks, "Is Tamra home?" Something along. I forget the girl's name.
Yeah, I don't.
But she creates a random girl's name, asks if she's home. They say no, and that's the end of it.
That's that.
Until the man and the wife are separated, and it has this incredible scene where Liv Tyler is alone. She's listening to Merle Haggard and the Strangers, the song Mama Tried. And out in the background of the shadow, you see this man in the mask. And then as she turns around, he disappears. This movie is so scary to me, and these villains are so good to me for the fact that I am absolutely terrified of being randomly victimized.
Yeah.
The idea of anytime, any point, somebody could just pick your house and that's the reason why.
Yeah.
That fucking terrifies
me. I feel like it's an easy scare though.
It's a smart scare though.
I guess.
Smarter than most.
I don't know. I think it's a little lazy. Because everybody's. I mean, I'm not knocking it, but it's just.
No, but you are knocking it.
I didn't like the movie. I wasn't really impressed. I didn't think it was scary at all. And I kind of dig those movies,
Slasher movies.
Yeah, I like them, but those movies, they're like action movies to me, where they're really hit or miss. Some of them are really good. Like those are cheap scares to me. That the camera pans and there's somebody there, and then like they're washing their face. And she closes the mirror, and there's somebody back there. It's like, because you know it's coming. You know it's coming. And the movies that get it right are the one like The Descent. The first time you see that fucking creature in The Descent when she's got the camera on, I fucking jumped. Oh my god. I didn't get that same reaction with The Strangers.
I don't think it was a jumpy movie. It was an unsettling movie.
Yeah, but I'd rather watch I Spit on Your Grave.
These are two different things.
It's that. What did you just say? It's not a jumpy movie, but it's a what?
Suspenseful?
Yeah, well, that's
unsettling.
Yeah, I Spit on Your Grave is pretty fucking unsettling
for different reasons.
Yeah, but I mean, there's that whole. I don't know. I just agree to disagree.
I guess, man. A lot of people have a problem with the ending. The biggest debate is about the ending.
Mm-hmm.
When the strangers finally capture them, they have them tied up. The sun is rising. The night's almost over.
Yeah.
And Liv Tyler asks, "Why are you doing this?" And their reply, the only time they speak in the movie, is "Because you were home." That is terrifying.
Yeah, no, that was, to me, that was the best part of the film.
And then they stab each other to death as the other person watches.
Yeah.
Like that. In my research, I had found out that this whole film was the writer and director. He did both. I'm gonna say Brian Bertino.
Brian Boitano, the figure skater.
Yeah, it's kind of a similar name, but it was all based on a time when he was a kid, and someone came knocking on his door in the middle of the night, asked if a random person was home, and of course they weren't. So the next morning he finds out that there had been a string of there's been a string of robberies in his neighborhood, and so he kind of just snowballed the whole story off of that fact.
That's creepy.
Yeah. What's more creepy is my stranger story.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm dating this girl, and we have the house alone for the weekend, and I had just seen Strangers in theaters, and we had a bootleg copy of it. Now, the film scared me so much in theaters, I still was unsettled by it, so I didn't want to watch it.
It was fresh.
The wound was still fresh. And she wanted to. So I'm like, can we please watch in the morning? And then she's like, yeah, that's fine. And then you know what that means. Like,
I want to watch it in 5 minutes.
She's like, all right. I'm like, just put it in. So we're watching it. I'm terrified. She's terrified. She won't turn it off because that's how girls are, I guess. I mean,
I want to see a squirm.
She fought for this so hard. She can't turn back now. So we're sitting there. The house is alone, or the house is empty. No one's supposed to be home all weekend. And I hear this car pull into my driveway. So
what time is this?
This is 2:00 in the morning. 2 a.m. I don't understand why there's cars on the road unless you're coming home.
Let alone in your driveway.
Let alone in my driveway. And I'm so paranoid from this movie. I want to make sure that I see them before they see me.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a long hallway that leads up to my front door. And I know you can see the lights are blaring in. So if a figure walks forward, they could see me. So what do? I'm fucking up against the wall.
Trying to become the wall.
Yeah, I'm just sliding along. They totally can't see me. Totally can't fucking see me. I wonder if these people were sitting in their car looking at me.
Look at this fucking guy. Think we're going to rob him.
What's this guy doing in here?
This guy's trying to beat a wall. Look.
So, I slide up to the door, and I'm sitting there, and I'm watching this car, and it's not moving. The lights aren't going off. They're not getting out. And I'm peeking out the fucking window, pushing the thing aside so I can see. And I'm like, if they get out of that car, I just want to know. I'm not moving until either they leave or they get out of the car. Because if they get out of the car and they come to the door, I'm like, I have a fucking big window in my room. I can be gone.
Just cowardly lying out the window after he sees the
Oz for the if they got out of the fucking car, I'd have been gone. I would have been... My girlfriend would have been fucking left alone. It was her dumb idea to watch The Strangers.
You kick her out the door.
They somehow knew that we were watching The Strangers. And so eventually the car begins to pull away. And through the light, I can see that the car that has been sitting in my parking lot or in my driveway for the last 10 minutes at 2:00 in the morning while I'm watching The Strangers is a no shit hearse.
What is a hearse? Why is there a hearse out at 2 a.m?
I don't understand why.
Have you ever been to many early morning funerals? That's creepy.
It was his last
man.
wish. I mean,
it was his last. I wanted one last late ride. I used to love driving around at 2 a.m.
Yeah, but that's my stranger story.
The Strangers. That was number 2, right?
Number 2.
My number 2 is Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, played by Louise Fletcher. I believe she also
what's her name?
Louise Fletcher.
Okay, so everybody got that.
She won the Academy Award, I believe. Incredible conviction. She plays, like I said, Nurse Ratched. She's the head nurse of a psychiatric unit. And Jack Nicholson's character, R.P. McMurphy, is kind of like a career criminal, I guess you can put it. Never like murdered anybody, never, did any harms, kind of, petty thefts and things like that. Just couldn't stay out of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And the prison that he's at figures that there's got to be something wrong with him. It's not just that he's a criminal. There's something's not right mentally. So they send him to this psychiatric unit to try and give him treatment, medicate him and maybe rehabilitate him.
Mm-hmm.
And the two of them just headbutt the entire movie. She's incredibly smart, but she's very strong-willed. I feel like she does a lot of things in this film out of spite, just to... Just to prove she has the power? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've got the bigger dick in this psychiatric unit, Mr. McMurphy. And I mean, she's really, really good in this movie. She's one of those characters that you just love to hate,
mm-hmm.
and from the word go, my way is not only is the right way, but it's the only way,
mm-hmm.
and I what rubs her the wrong way is that Nicholson in this movie, he's a good people person, you know what I mean? I feel like he can read people. I think he helped a lot of these, the patients more than she ever did.
Mm-hmm.
He got them to believe in themselves.
So he kind of like, she's spiteful for them?
Yeah, but he knows how to get under her skin. He knows the buttons to push, and he knows what's gonna fucking set her off. And she knows, all the shit to do to him too, because she's, like I said, she's got the power. She sends him for electric shock treatment,
mm-hmm.
which, I mean, it was totally, if you see the movie, it's completely fucking unnecessary.
Unwarranted.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. This is just like a big fuck you. This is what I can do.
Just let you know I can do this.
Yeah, I'm going to hurt you. I could really, I know you don't need this. There's no reason that you need to be here. But yeah, really, and I guess you can call her an unconventional villain. She's not this horror character or anything. She's just
a woman.
Just a woman, yeah. Just a mean-spirited person who's got power, maybe a little bit more power than she needs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Louise Fletcher, Nurse Ratched is my number 2.
Okay, so we're down to number 1 then.
Ryan's number 1,
which you have been waiting for.
I can't wait. This has been like a month. It would, like we said earlier, it was The Emperor, and now it's...
Yeah, The Emperor was originally my number 1. He's moved the whole way down to number 4.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Number 1 is Pennywise the Clown from the movie It, directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, played by Tim Curry.
It's a good movie. It's a good villain.
I'm happy with it.
It's a good one, I think. It's creepy. I mean, everybody knows it. He's very synonymous, and it's one of Stephen King. I think it's one of his better stories. When he gets it right, he gets it right.
Yeah, I wish I would have read the book.
I haven't read the book. I've only seen the movie.
The only thing I've heard from the book is that apparently, what's the girl's name? Betty?
Yeah.
It's like Betty. I can't remember her name. Fuck, it's gonna bug me too. But anyways, apparently she has sex with all the kids in the book.
That's pretty disgusting.
She has sex with the entire Lucky 7.
Is that why they call it Lucky 7?
I mean, if I was their age, that would be why they'd call me Lucky. What I love about that girl is the girl from that. Have you ever seen Ginger Snaps?
Yeah, I've seen it once.
Well, the younger sister is the younger girl in It.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, and also Seth Green, young Seth Green.
Seth Green's been in a lot of movies. He was in Can't Buy Me Love. He played the younger brother in that. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie.
I love Can't Buy Me Love. Are you kidding
me?
Is
so good.
Which is later remade as Love Don't Cost a Thing. Isn't that canon?
Pennywise.
Pennywise the clown.
Is that where they got the band name from, I wonder?
I believe so. I can't imagine it came from anywhere else. But yeah, what I love about it is he kind of makes up all of my other... What I love about Pennywise, I gotta stop calling him it, because he's not it. And I feel like when I talk to people who are ill-informed about it, they always have the same thing to say. Oh, it was dumb. It was a spider at the end. Like, no, he was a lot of things.
Yeah.
Pennywise isn't the only thing he uses to torture these kids. Yeah. Seth Green was chased by a werewolf. Like,
well, he doesn't just use... on each kid's individual fear.
Exactly. He doesn't just use the clown. You know, he uses whatever it does to torture you. The clown is just the main thing. But the scene that does it, it's the very opening scene when Billy's little brother is sailing the SS Georgie down the sidewalk in the puddle. And you see Pennywise for the first time. And they have the interaction where, you know, he's trying to trick him into coming into the gutter. And the line, "We all float down here," just like, ugh.
It's creepy.
Pennywise is what's the word I'm looking for? He's the sum of all of my...
He encompasses.
He's everything about villains that I love, he is that. He's everything in one.
He's everything that he's your whole list.
He's my whole list.
The rating system.
He has the personality. He has the manipulation. He has the intelligence, because that, you know, manipulation and intelligence go hand in hand. He has the intelligence enough to manipulate these kids to know what scares them and what's going to get them to do the things he wants to do. Like the scene when the Lucky Seven fight, when they fight him the first time, they all join arms in a circle. And they're like, "Don't break the circle, because if you break the circle, you're fucked." You know, that's basically what they meant.
Red Rover.
And it's, you know, it's a circle, and at the end of each kid is a tunnel, and they use the tunnels to kind of draw them out. Like the girl, she sees her father. I think the fat kid who, you know, his dad died, he sees his dad. There's all these different things that he's trying to pull these kids
break
apart.
The circle, yeah.
So, I mean, he's smart enough to have that. He's everything. He encompasses all traits that I want in a villain.
It's a good pick. I mean, I don't think a lot of people would argue with you. So, you want to do
my recap?
Yeah, recap of your top 5.
In order, 5 through 1. Severin, played by Bill Paxton from the film Near Dark. The Emperor from the Star Wars series, played by Ian McDiarmid, is number 4. Number 3 is Haley Stark, played by Ellen Page from the film Hard Candy. Number 2 is Dollface, Pinup Girl, and Man in Mask from the film The Strangers. And number 1 is Pennywise the Clown from the film It.
It's a good list. Good list. And, we'll close mine up. My number 1. Again, I get a lot of shit for this, and I'm not sure why, but I'm steadfast on my number 1 villain of all time. It's a newer character. It's not a newer character, but it's a relatively newer film. The Joker, as played by Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, like you said with Pennywise, I feel
he encompasses all.
Yeah, I feel like he totally encompasses everything. The conviction factor is through the roof. I mean, it's just all he wanted. Like the line.
I guess that's one thing Pennywise is missing. I mean, he doesn't have that conviction.
Yeah.
Well, the monster who is Pennywise has, you know, it's hunger basically.
Yeah, that's conviction.
It's, you know, it's animal will.
Yeah. The line in the Dark Knight where, you know, some people just want to watch the world burn couldn't have described that character any better. Just an evil guy, creepy. The makeup was very
perfect,
subtle. Yeah, you know, it was more of what he did and how he did it and the way he said things than the way
character
he looked,
was bigger than the physical appearance.
Oh my God, the character was bigger than the appearance. Yeah, and that voice that he did. Oh, the voice is incredible.
I don't think I would have picked that out if somebody showed me a picture of him before I knew it was Heath Ledger. I don't know if I'd been able to pick it.
Yeah, and I really think he really kind of got into that role. I honestly feel like that was a major contributing factor to his death.
Yeah, you got to put yourself into a weird mental state. Actors, when they do a role, at least the better actors, they let that role consume them. And they don't break character ever. They live that role until that role is done. Yeah. Because if they break character, they might never get it back.
It's just he was just so good. There were just little things when he licks his lips, when he's the whole movie he's rubbing his tongue on the scars on the inside of his mouth and the stories, 3 different stories as to I got these scars. It's just to me it's just a perfect villain.
I love the pictures of how I got these scars and shows popsicles with the jagged edges.
I didn't see.
You've never seen that?
No, I didn't see that.
How have you never seen that?
I don't know.
Those
funny.
Big popsicles from when you were a kid that cut the side of your lips. Yeah.
I was really into it from the get-go. When I heard Heath Ledger, I was like, oh, I think this is going to be good. He's got that wiry body, and I liked him as an actor. And what really put me over the top was the first promotional picture with him sitting in the prison, and I was sitting on the bench and with his hands on his hips, and he was in full costume, and I said, well, here we go. I'm fucking sold. I'm in. I'm ready for it. And he really didn't disappoint. And I feel from that movie on, for me anyway, that's the measuring stick for villains. I don't think anybody can play the role again. I think he's totally ruined that role for any director or writer or actor to even attempt to try it. There's no way. There's no way anybody can do that. A lot of people said that with Nicholson. So I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong because he's too good of a character to never see in a movie again.
Film,
he's the character himself is too good. But Heath Ledger, you couldn't have asked for a better performance.
I would have loved to see I know he died, but I still don't think even if he would have been alive, he would have been in the next film.
Oh my God, he would definitely been in the next film.
I don't think he would have.
Why not?
I may be an appearance, but not be the main villain. Well, the same way that Cillian
Murphy did. He was in all 3 of them. The Scarecrow was in all 3 of them.
Yeah.
But I don't think that was the last you would have heard. As long as Christopher Nolan was still making those movies, I bet you. I don't think he was done telling the story of the Joker. I think he put Bane in this last movie because of his death.
The story of...
I could watch a trilogy of the 3 of them.
That's what I mean. The story of the Joker and Batman is such a deep story.
Yeah.
And the contrast of the characters and how you don't have a hero without a villain. They need each other. That's why Batman can never kill the Joker. And that's why the Joker can never kill the Batman.
No.
I know you don't watch The Following, but
no.
On the last episode, the 2 enemies meet, Kevin Bacon's character and Joe Carroll. And they have the exact same interaction that Batman and Joker would. Where he's, he's like, just kill me instead. And he's like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Because they need each other.
It's the yin and yang.
Yeah.
They don't survive. It's just, he was incredible.
But I could have watched 3 movies just about their relationship.
Yeah, he was totally perfect. It was great casting. It was phenomenal writing.
Mm-hmm.
He was a perfect villain and deserved the Oscar. And
did he win the Oscar?
He did win the Oscar. Okay. He had
but people
died
believe it's just because
already.
he died.
I think a lot of people contribute that to it, but I don't think that was. Me personally, I don't think that was it. I don't know who he was up against. Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head, but he's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great character. That's the other thing with villains, though. I feel like you have these movies. The villain is just as, if not more important than the hero of the film, especially in the comic book movies. Because if you got a bad villain, you got a bad movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that is my list. I'll do a quick recap.
Uh-huh.
Number 5 is The Wicked Witch of the West, played by Margaret Hamilton, The Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
Number 4 is Amon Geth, Ralph Fiennes in Schindler's List. 3 is John Doe, played by Kevin Spacey in Seven. 4 is Nurse Ratched, played by Louise Fletcher in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And number 1 is Heath Ledger as the Joker in The Dark Knight. So, yeah, those are our lists.
That's our individual top 5.
Yeah, top
villains.
5 from me and Ryan. Just quick, I want to thank everybody who listened to the Captain America podcast and the few people that continue to listen to the top 10 list that we did.
We want to remind everybody to subscribe to our channel, like our videos, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/bigscreensmalltalk, and on Twitter at BSST Podcast.
And that'll wrap up this edition of Big Screen Small Talk. I'm Anthony Mottola.
I'm Ryan Waltz.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.